Before we get into this video, you guys, this is going to be a very divisive topic. I already know that the YouTube algorithm is really not going to like this video at all. But I am a proponent of alternative thinking, not even just alternative thinking, critical thinking. You have to think about things that are opposite from what the narrative is, right? You got to look at things from all different angles. And so whenever another person, if you bring up something and they just completely they wish death upon you, you are stupid, they start throwing out words without actually dissecting the thought, the idea that you bring about, they start personally attacking you, that means that there's something wrong there. There's something behind the scenes that deserves a little bit more in like studying. You need to look into it a little bit more. You're uncovering the truth. You're getting somewhere when people start to act irrationally and say irrationally things. And so let's look at this video, you guys. People tend to forget this happened in 2020.
You are the unvaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem, period, end of story.
The only people that you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, are the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you, as will the rest of us who have done the right thing by getting vaccinated.
Because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated.
I think it's time to get our moral house in order, Anderson. It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
All of us vaccinated folks are going to start wearing masks to protect the unvaccinated folks. It's called a Christian value.
You're basically punishing the vaccinated for the sins of the unvaccinated.
People are not behaving honorably. The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me. I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated are basically beating their breasts and running around the country saying, we don't care, we're living free and so forth.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
The unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children. And the rest of us are starting to get pissed off.
The vaccinated feel the unvaccinated are making me upset or angry.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No. Screw your freedom.
The other day, Howard Stern weighed in with a much different approach. Take a look.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this?
You see all the celebrities that they're using to push this narrative as well. It's not enough just to push it on the media, you guys. We have to bring celebrities into it.
Country and just say it's mandatory to get vaccinated. Their freedom.
But you're treading on our freedom and you're making other people sick, and really you're killing other people.
The anti-vaxxers, they seem to have a thing for death and home remedies.
The anti-maskers turned anti-vaxxers are not just putting their own lives at risk. If that was the issue, we could just say that we can watch them compete to win Placer's show in the Darwin Awards.
We have to start doing things for the greater good of society and not for idiots who think that they can do their own research.
And don't get me started on the lunatics who won't take any of the COVID vaccines.
Life is too short to...
How dare you do your own research for yourself? You don't know any better than these clinics, these doctors, these pharmaceutical companies who got paid millions upon millions of dollars to push out a certain amount of vaccines. You don't know that. You don't know. You don't know any better. How dare you think for yourself? What? We, the government, the media, we think for you. We don't. What? Come on.
To be an ass. Life is way too short to be ignorant of the promise of something that is helping people worldwide.
Maybe you're doing it because you're disconnected or disorganized. Maybe you have some sympathetic psychological reasons. But maybe you're just being antisocial.
Oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are.
Those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price.
The unvaccinated should be taxed. They should pay more for health care.
We need to start looking at
You should pay more for healthcare for thinking for yourself.
the choice to remain unvaccinated, the same as we look at driving while intoxicated.
We're going to see, and I've said, almost two types of America.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack, yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo, rest in peace, Wheezy.
You deserve to die. Why should we give you any sort of health care if you do not follow the rules that we have We're thinking for you. We think for you. You don't deserve to live because you don't follow the program.
Pointing back to the unvaccinated who are really creating a problem in this country, every death that we are seeing from COVID could have been prevented.
Literally, the only people dying are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame on.
I don't know how some of you sleep at night.
How do you sleep at night, you guys? How in the hell do you sleep at night? And what's so sad about this whole situation, you guys, is that look here, man. And what is this? This is in what did it say? It's in Spain or something like that. Oh God, what happened here? Oh, Austria, in Vienna, Austria, right? Vigils for the vaccine. What is this even? Let's see here. Let's see here. IMP Fopfer. IMP Fopfer. IMP Fopfer. Let's look this up real quick. .com. What? Oh, .info. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Info. All right, let's translate it. Whoa, vaccine damage or side effects after the corona vaccination. As the largest association for vaccine victims in Austria, we help with vaccine damage after your mRNA treatment. Let's look into this, man. Vaccine victim archive. Search from 41,000 sorted entries, categories, commitment. Let's look here. Press contacts. Media inquiries will only be answered in writing at info.impopfer. So this is in Vienna, you guys. This is an actual thing. Not to mention all the other stuff out here. You know, there's plenty of other studies here from articles actually. Hold on, let's go. That's the wrong. I gotta go to my bookmarks. Japanese leader apologizes to the unvaccinated. You were right. Vaccines are killing millions of our loved ones. Let's look it up. Japanese leader apologizes to the vaccinated. Let's see here. Changing quickly. If this topic is new. Uh-oh. Is this Google censoring? At its finest. National Daily, the Mainichi. Right? Tokyo, Japanese public broadcaster NHK apologized on Twitter on May 16th for editing a news program to make it look like some people had died of COVID-19, when in fact comments used in the show were by people claiming that their family members had died after receiving the coronavirus vaccine. There seems to be some stuff going on out here, you guys. Apologize to the unvaccinated, the people's voice, right? Okay. Huge numbers of citizens. So, long story short, you guys, right? We're not going to take the time to look into this. There's just too many articles to look at, you guys. There's too many articles. I have a lot of them here. Turbo cancer, death surges, and vaccines in adults. It's just the pro-vaccine doctor comes clean. We're fooled. The vaccines are poison. There's even a study, vaccine sex transmitted, right? Right? Pre-exposure vaccination is one of the common, which can be sexually transmitted. HPV vaccination is recommended routinely for males and females. Sexually transmitted. Hold on. COVID can be transmitted through sex. COVID vaccine. Let's see here. It's not a sexually transmitted disease, but Twitter. Let's look it up on Twitter. Let's see here. This is actually just a tremendous amount of information to do. USA Today. They're probably more than likely not gonna say that it doesn't happen. Can spread. Don't have sex with a vaccinated person. 600 times 7 days. So you guys, let me just show you guys some things here, right? There's a bunch of different things called unconscious biasness, right? There's a lot of different forms of unconscious biasness. There's the conformity bias, right? This happens when a group think, right? Which occurs when we change our opinions or behaviors to match that of the bigger group, right? There's the illusory truth effect, also known as the illusion of truth, describes how when we hear the same false information repeated again and again, we often come to believe it is true. Troublingly, this even happens when people should know better. That is, when people initially know that the misinformation is false. The only problem with this, you guys, is that when you're told not to think for yourself, when you're told not to do a little bit of research, Google was a form of information, a site where you could do some research at. There is tremendous amounts of censorship, and so you still have to do your digging. You still have to do a tremendous amount of digging and, you know, finding out certain things, because a lot more information is going to be pushed to the front than others, right? Here's another thing. I want to show you guys this. I'm about to post a different video on this. You guys watch the other video. It's going to be about how TikTok actually reorganizes comments depending on the user is watching the video. It organizes the comments based on the person that watches the video. This is even more something called the confirmation bias, you guys. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek out and use information that confirms one's views and expectations. In other words, cherry picking information to validate certain points. This affects our ability to think critically and objectively, which can lead to skewed interpretations of information and overlooking information with opposing views. Meaning, you are more apt to be, you guys can read it actually, I'm sorry. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek out and use information that confirms one's views and expectations. In other words, cherry picking information to validate certain points. This affects our ability to critically think and objectively, which can lead to skewed interpretations of information and overlooking information with opposing views, meaning you are a sheep. We need you to be a sheep. If most people don't do this, you have no ability. You have an underdeveloped ability to critically think for yourself, you guys. How can you come to the truth when you're only receiving one source of information from one pool? How? How can you come to the truth? You are a puppet. You are supposed to follow what is the rules of the bigger paradigm, you guys. This is a wonderful thing, right? It's a wonderful thing out there because you start to understand and you start to see the world is truly littered with NPCs, you guys. NPCs, man, not non-player characters. The player typically is the one with the most sentiency who can learn in a video game, where everyone else in the world is just a fucking computer. They're pre-programmed. Whatever the algorithm, whatever the program is telling the characters to do around them, it's what they're going to do. That's what's happening, you guys. Let me show one other thing to you guys. Right? This is the Merriam-Webster.com dictionary definition of a PSYOP. A military operation usually aimed at influencing the enemy's state of mind through non-combative means, or government use of a person or phenomenon to influence a population's opinions and attitudes. How is this not the definition of a PSYOP, you guys? What we just watched was the definition of a PSYOP. The reason why I want you guys to read the book 1984 by George Orwell is because this is one of the best books in the world that helps you critically think about the government behind you guys. One of the biggest things that like blew my mind was every day this guy woke up, right? People were in constant fear of a bombing, right? There was bombs that just happened. The government was telling the citizens that it was a warring state, that they were at war. Turns out in the middle of the book that it was the own government bombing its own people so that it could be easier to control the people in the population, you guys. Why is it such a foreign thought that your own government could be wanting to kill you? How is that not a possible thought? How is that not a possibility, you guys? Why isn't it in the best interest for the government to kill certain people and to leave certain people alive? If I were a supervillain, it just makes more sense to kill off the critically thinking people who can think for themselves versus the people who are the sheep who are just going to do what we told, right? We want them to jump off a cliff. They're going to jump off the cliff. We want those people. The people who are over here speaking loudly with the little megaphone saying, hey, blah, 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 don't do that, don't do this, think for yourself. Those are problems. Those are problem people, you guys. And so, I take the stance of blending in. That's my personal opinion, you guys. I don't really try to make videos like this often. I try to blend in a little bit, right? I may do some stuff that's here and there, but because I'm so small and because of my looks and, you know, people aren't going to take me so seriously. They're not going to take my information seriously, right? I'm just not going to be taken seriously, so I'm not a threat. I'm not a problem. But I do this in the workplace, you guys. You blend in. You know the game. Don't tell anyone that you know how the game works. Just keep it in your mind, play it out, use the scientific method. What's the scientific method? Come up with a thesis. Then you experiment on that thesis. You throw so many opposing things at that thesis. If your thesis still stands still after you throw opposing views on it to try to disprove your thesis, you have a fairly strong thesis, right? And it's still a theory, However, it is more aligned with the truth and what is actually happening versus just some assumption, versus just taking the narrative of what other people are saying, versus just listening to what some authority is saying, you guys. Another person that attacked people, right? Is Penguin Zero, you guys. Here it is.
Anti-Vaxxer.
Here's a video. Yo, this guy, man. The reason why I attack this guy so much with this shit is because I enjoy watching him. But the thing is he's not truth. The shit that he says is just dumb. It's just dumb sometimes. But because he's a educated guy, Penguin Zero is one of the people that I call stupid smart, right? Stupid smart people are people who are so smart that they feel like they can't learn anything else that opposes what they think is stupid. Those are people who are limited in thoughts and progression. Stupid smart people, you guys. He's so smart that he's fucking stupid, actually, you guys. Here's a take by Penguin Zero on anti-vaxxers.
And flat earthers are two sides of the same coin, both bred from fucking idiocy and the desire to be special or smarter than the experts. However, flat earthers are mainly just a joke, a fun group to make fun of because they believe something downright ridiculous, and it's harmless. It doesn't hurt anyone that they're fucking stupid and believe these things. They can believe Xenu powers boners from a cosmic plane above us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anyone. Anti-vaxxers hurt everyone on a global scale, and this cult has some pretty powerful leaders in the YouTube community. I wanted to just watch one of the anti-vax videos here and just make fun of it, just because I think anti-vax is a group that needs to be constantly ridiculed to help maybe push people away from pursuing that kind of shit. So let's just go ahead and shit on some anti-vaxxing.
Hi, my name is Anas Mughal. I got 2 children, and we were pro-vaccines, and then one of my children got damaged by a vaccine when that child was 4 months old.
So now you meet our protagonist here, Anus. His name is Anus.
Was actually, you see this guy, he says his name is Anus. He's making fun of the guy's name, dude. This wow. I actually know quite a few people who've had perfectly functioning children after they got a vaccine. They cried for several days nonstop, and then once they stop crying, they're autistic. It's happened.
Anus, and it'd be an extremely poor taste and very low for me to make fun of his name being Anus. But it's anti-vax, so there's nothing too low. This dude's name is fucking Anus, and he's an anti-vaxxer. That's perfect. That's a beautiful marriage right there. Now, Anus tells a story here, and there's some inconsistencies with it that don't make much sense, so it makes me believe that the story's A, not true, or B, completely exaggerated. So honestly, I start to believe Anus is full of shit as his story continues. He's telling this on a site called Larry Cook or some shit like that.
Other child was developing food allergies very rapidly, and we realized he had a lot of toxins built up in his body.
A little pro tip, when you hear someone say that your body is toxic or that you're building up toxins or something, you gotta detox it, rub these essential oils on your nipples to detox your whole body, it's bullshit. That is the most profitable buzzword. Toxins, toxic, detoxing, all forms of that. It's nonsense. It's complete bullshit, and it's usually just trying to sell you something, scam you, or just show how fucking dumb they are.
A child, and why he was building up allergies and eczema and
spread, nor should flat earth, but because of how easy it is to find anything you want. You can find any information at all that confirms your personal beliefs, no matter how outrageous. You could find something that says Santa Claus does exist, and he's a notoriously disgusting
long story short, man, I can't, like, I don't understand how people. I strictly watch him for video game content. He is funny as fuck when he's playing his stupid ass horror games. Anything else is just stupid. Anything else this guy talks about, especially outside of video games, you just can't even really take it for heart. You can't take it for truth. It's strictly entertainment. It's strictly just for fun. This guy right here is like, it's just crazy the amount of ass talking he does. His lips move like a fucking auctioneer. Just a lot of shit just comes out of his mouth at rapid pace, and sometimes it's really funny. It's really funny. I'm not even gonna lie, but you can't take this guy for seriously. You can't take him seriously, man. I will stay subscribed, and and once again, you guys, you can enjoy a person's creative work outside of them as a person. I'll say this again. I enjoy watching this guy because he's funny. I enjoy his funny work. Doesn't mean I'm gonna take his fucking health information, his financial information. The guy went to attack people up. He did an advertisement on Current, right? Current's some like banking institution that did a paid sponsorship with Moist Critical, right? Some people in the comments got mad at him because he was promoting a fucking check cashing thing, right? And he was like, a payday loan thing. He was like, it's not a payday loan. If it's 0% interest, it's not a loan. No, it's a loan with 0% interest. That's what it is. It's a loan with 0% interest. A loan. But Critical sat there arguing with people on his comments saying that it's still a fucking loan. He's like, no, it's not a loan. It has 0% interest. How can it be a loan? Because you got to pay it back, you fucking dumbass. So this just, I just wanted to put this out here, you guys. I'm not probably going to do another video like this in a minute. Obviously, you can tell for me on my end what side of the spectrum I'm on. I don't honestly feel any sort of ways like this for people who get vaccinated versus people who don't get vaccinated. It's just my personal opinion. It's just my personal choice. I chose not to. Been perfectly fine ever since. I drink green tea. Yes, I'm one of those motherfuckers. I drink green tea damn near every single day. Don't get sick. Exercise often. Eat my veggies. Eat chicken and shit like that every day. That's how I like to live. That's just me. You know, hey, I guess you got to go call out the lynch mob for me because I choose to eat this way. Oh my God. I didn't choose to do it because it just didn't make sense. I don't even like to take medicine in general, you guys. It doesn't make sense. Why am I easing the symptoms when I could just completely take off the problem completely? It doesn't make sense. I don't like, why? Why do I get the flu vaccine when I'm not sick? Why? Why should I get these stuff when I'm not sick? I don't want to continue to put shit in my body. I don't know. And look at the title of this video. The greatest misinformation of all time. And now we go online, do a little research, you guys, and this tremendous amount of studies years later that, damn, this might have been a damaging thing, you guys. If you've even, the reason why I personally didn't take it, I'm gonna tell you guys this, right? Because when I was in school, you guys, I took something called AP Biology, right? We learned about DNA. We learned about mRNA. We learned about the transcription and how DNA is even made. The proteins that synthesize and decode DNA in order to create organs, to create your fucking body, right? mRNA. How it doesn't make any fucking sense to take a prototype of a vaccine, right? This is the first of its kind that alters your mRNA. Are you kidding me? That does not sound safe at all. You wouldn't buy the first, some people do, right? I wouldn't buy the first self-driving car. I would feel safer buying the third or fourth iteration of a self-driving car. At that time, there's a lot more data. There's a lot more things coming into you know, the company has a lot more information so that they can update the fucking algorithm, the AI, whatever. It's just safer. The later generations are almost always safer, better, more efficient, more cost-effective. It's just almost better in every way, right? I'm going to show you guys one other thing, right? Let me show you one other thing. This right here, you guys, let me show you this. This is The innovation adoption curve. Innovators are 2.5% of the population. Early adopters are 13.5% of the population. Early majority, 34%. Then the late majority, 34%. The 16% are the laggards. The 16 and the 34%, you guys, this typically comes in the form of, this just happened with phones, right? This just happened with phones, right? So they are starting to roll out certain phones. Like Apple is starting to pretty much almost deactivate certain phones, or cell phone companies are starting to stop servicing certain phones. And so you're forced to upgrade. That's what typically happens to laggards in the late majority. Now, what happens with the innovators is that the reason it's 2.5% is because it's so fucking risky. It is so damn risky to be an innovator in terms of costs. You could dump a tremendous amount of money and start trying to start the brand new whatever, or you can die. There's so few innovators because they are either dying or they bust out, right? They're early adopters, right? The innovators have done it. The early adopters, right, weren't the first to really do it, but they're still close up there, right? So these are the people to buy the first people to buy the new iPhone or some shit like that, right? These are the early adopters. I want to be somewhere in the early majority versus the early adopters. At that point, you can still reap the benefits of being an early adopter, right? Think about this with YouTube. Those were the early adopters and the innovators. Those are the people that are benefiting the most, right, from being an early adopter, being on YouTube early, right? The majority of people that are getting on YouTube now, they're late majority or laggards. That's what it is, you guys. They're not going to reap as much benefits as these people are. And so, when it comes to this vaccine and shit like that, you guys, the innovators, they know what's going on. They know what's going on. They made the vaccine. The early adopters. I want to see these motherfuckers do it. I want to see what happens to these motherfuckers, right? Are they going to die off? Are they going to develop any kind of complications, right? And if not, then maybe I'll become an early majority. But when it comes to health and putting shit in your body, I feel it's much safer to be the late majority, because things that happen to you are under my control, right? Things that happen to myself are under my control. I can control, for the most part, what's happening to my body, for the most part. Listen, keyword, most part, right? It's just safer to be the late majority when it comes to shit that you inject and put into your health, you guys, in your body. That was a lot. So if you want to look into this, though, you guys, the relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, trialability, observability, just look into all this stuff, man. I gave you guys a lot of resources to look up, and man, crazy. With that being said, man, it's your brother Trey. I'll see you guys in the next one.